The Girlfriend is one of those rare shows that grabs you slowly but refuses to let go. At first glance, it seems like a fairly straightforward psychological drama. A mother, her son, and the son's new girlfriend don't seem to quite get along. But as soon as the first episode hits, it's clear that this is a much more sophisticated and layered story. Directed by Robin Wright and Andrea Harkin, the series doesn't just tell the story, it examines perception, obsession, and the very human tendency to justify our own actions while misjudging others. Filmed primarily in London with additional sequences shot in Spain, the production values are immediately noticeable. London provides a colder, more restrained backdrop, reflecting Laura Sanderson's controlled and precise personality, while the Spanish sequences offer warmth and contrast, adding subtle layers to Cherry Lane's background and her emotional volatility. The story centers on Laura Sanderson, played here by Robin Wright, and her son Daniel, played by Laurie Davidson. Daniel has just started a relationship with Cherry Lane, played by Olivia Cooke, and Laura, ever the protective mother, begins to view Cherry with suspicion. What could have been a simple mother versus girlfriend story quickly becomes a complex psychological game. The series repeatedly presents events from multiple perspectives. We'll see the story from Laura's perspective and then Cherry's. Even some scenes play out the exact same way, but from different angles. This technique constantly challenges the viewer's perception, forcing you to decide who is right and who is wrong, and sometimes even who is more sympathetic in a given moment. The dual perspective structure is one of the show's greatest strengths. You may witness the same interaction play out twice, and the emotional tone, motivation, and perceived morality can completely shift. It's a masterclass in how storytelling and perspective can manipulate the audience's emotional alignment. Robin Wright plays Laura Sanderson, and she delivers a layered, nuanced, fantastic performance. She begins as stoic and composed, but has a very soft spot for her son. But as the series progresses, you see cracks in her armor. She becomes more obsessive, more emotionally volatile, but never loses the core of her character. There are times you can understand why she does what she does. Is she just a mother protecting her son? But there are also times when she crosses the line, having not dealt with the trauma of losing her daughter at a very young age, and almost becoming obsessive over Daniel's own existence. The role is subtle study in escalation, a mother whose love for her son spirals into obsession. Wright's performance is restrained when it needs to be, explosive when the tension peaks. The Golden Globe nomination was well deserved. Olivia Cooke plays Cherry Lane, and she is as equally impressive. Cherry is a puzzle, at times sympathetic, at times manipulative, and at times downright dangerous. Cooke embodies that ambiguity perfectly. You can never fully predict her actions. Her unpredictability is what keeps the tension alive. It's worth noting that Cooke's performance didn't receive the same award recognition as Wright's, but in terms of her sheer skill and impact, it's absolutely on par. In many ways, I feel she actually holds the show together. Cherry is both charming, likable, yet at times psychopathic, dangerous and unpredictable. And that's what makes the character so nuanced and fascinating. You can't decide whether to like her or be afraid of her. Daniel, played by Laurie Davidson, is the emotional anchor of the series. He's caught between these two very strong personalities and remains largely naive about the full scope of events. Davidson portrays Daniel with authenticity and vulnerability. He's relatable, almost innocent, and his reactions help the audience navigate his psychological tug-of-war. Walid Sutar plays Howard Sanderson, Laura's husband and Daniel's father. It's a quiet, restrained performance from Walid, but it adds a real emotional depth to the show. I must also give a shout out to Tanya Moody as Isabella Russell Bailey, Laura's best friend, who adds a bit of comic relief to the show. I also thought Karen Hethorn, who plays Tracy Lane, Cherry's mother, brings subtle complexity. She's protective but flawed, showing that Cherry's background is not black and white. Then we even get Anna Chandler as Lilith Greenway, who adds another layer to Laura's past and gives insight into her personality through their shared history. The direction is subtle, precise, and remarkably effective. Wright and Harkin use tight framing and heightened tension, slow pacing to create discomfort, and multiple camera angles to reinforce the dual perspective storytelling. Every scene has a purpose. Even quiet domestic moments feel charged with underlying threat, making viewers question every glance and word. The use of perspective is particularly fascinating. Some sequences are repeated, but the mood and perceived motivation change depending on the character's viewpoint. It's a visual narrative technique that reinforces the central theme. There are always two sides to every story. The show is based on the novel The Girlfriend by Michelle Francis. Principal photography began in June 2024, with filming taking place in London and in Spain. This is a limited miniseries format, meaning no filler, tight, focused storytelling. And many scenes were deliberately shot multiple times from different perspectives to capture the nuanced emotional shifts. This attention to detail elevates the series, making it more than just a thriller. It's a psychological exploration. Some trivia notes. Robin Wright previously directed for House of Cards, but this is one of her most prominent TV directorial efforts post House of Cards. Olivia Cooke prepared extensively to capture Cherry's multifaceted personality, including consulting psychologists to portray manipulative behavior convincingly. Michelle Francis, the author, was actively involved in the adaptation process, ensuring the series retained the novel's complexity. The series intentionally leaves conclusions ambiguous, making the viewer an active participant in deciding who is right and wrong. Some of the main themes and takeaways from the show is it definitely focuses on obsession and perception, how love can cross into control, moral ambiguity, that no one is purely good or evil, and that perspective matters. The way events are interpreted changes everything. The brilliance of The Girlfriend is in how it challenges the audience to question their own judgments. You might sympathize with Laura in one scene and root for Cherry in the next, but by the finale you're forced to confront your biases and interpretations. The Girlfriend is an expertly crafted psychological drama. It combines outstanding performances, particularly from Wright and Cooke, smart, layered storytelling, tense, deliberate pacing, and a haunting examination of morality and perception, and just how easily the lines between right and wrong can be blurred. The Girlfriend gets a 9 out of 10. It's a show that will stick with you, make you think, and keep you on the edge of your seat. This is one I highly recommend for fans of character-driven thrillers and psychological drama. So what did you think of The Girlfriend? Please let me know down in the comments, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more deep dive reviews.